Late night, early mornings, DJ BAX. This is the late night, early morning podcast. Definitely doing it. Do it a day early, uh, due to some arrangements that I have for tomorrow. But definitely wanted to bring something in, something new, something definitely posting this both on my Insta as well as also on the going to be on the YouTube channel. You haven't checked out the channel, DJ Back CLT. Um, this week I'm alone, right? Had to change it up. We have a little break there, and I was like, I need to get this in before the weekend ends here, before I run out of time. So let's go ahead and get this party going. Let's go. Late night, early mornings, DJ Back. Friday Night Live, y'all. Hopefully you had a good week. Sipping on a little something. If you're not sipping on a little something, I'm sipping on it for you. What's up? This is the Late Night Early Mornings podcast, coming to you live. Sending love to you and yours. Let's go. Hopefully everyone's having a good holiday season. Enjoying this nice brisk weather. Got to get it on and popping tonight. Late night, early mornings, DJ BAX checking in for you. Hopefully everyone's being good out there.
What happens if you mash this button?
If you're not being good, being better. It's all love. Coming to you a little early. Usually I do this on Saturday nights, but I'm going to go ahead and get it popping on a Friday night. I don't even have to explain the reason, but I'm getting popping on a Friday night. So hopefully everyone's had a good week. Still enjoying that holiday season. Like I said, I'm going live. I actually changed it up a little bit. I'm going live on my Instagram now, as well as also I'm doing my recording here. That should be on the YouTube page, DJ Back CLT. Like I said, I did this one solo. I'm going to bring on my guests. I'm loading up. I'm loading up. Got a lot of guests that want to get on, and I definitely want to bring them on because I love the dialogue. And I'll definitely get that on. I'm going to post this on my YouTube page. Unfortunately, like the last one, if whatever reason, it was too big to get on the TikTok page, but I am going to post this on the TikTok. Shout out to my sister, Janine there. Appreciate you joining me tonight. But all that being said, like I said, it's holiday season. Hopefully everyone's out there being safe, buying lots of presents. To be honest, I've only bought one present, and that's because that's my niece story is you know I'm a girl dad, so I love the little girl, so I got theirs, but got hers. I ain't even bought my wife nothing yet. That's terrible, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But I'm going to get it done. I am going to get it done. So I got to get out there and do some Christmas shopping. So hopefully everybody else has done it. If you've done it and you got it done, then shout out to you. You want to help me with mine? I can see my Cash App. Uh, but nevertheless, here, not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about late night, early mornings. What our podcast is about. Obviously, about the music, the movement, feel, the vibe, all that great stuff. So, last week's show was a great show. Had my Baxter girls on there, my daughters. Uh, mad love to them. Faith, Hope. Definitely letting us giving us some of that knowledge that they have acquired throughout the years there. So this week here, I definitely want to kind of talk about something that has been on my mind, and I was thinking about over the past couple of weeks, and with the influence that uh, I have felt from hip hop and some of the things that throughout my life, it's basically the story of soundtrack of my life. One of the things that always stands out, always I look at a lot of social media and kind of see a lot of things. I don't listen to a lot of the new music uh, as much as I used to. Kind of like a lot of it, I'm not really. Every now and again something catches me, but for the most part, it's I understand it's not built for me. They don't make records for me, right? They make records for their generation. I have mad respect for that, mad love for that, because when I was a young buck, people made music for my generation at the time. But fast forwarding, I always see a lot of talk about, I'm the best. This so forth. I'm the best rapper, or this rapper is not relevant, or things of that nature. And that's always been the basis of hip hop. Hip hop has always been a competition, bragging, so forth and so on. So it's nothing new. It's nothing that's out of bounds. I think there was a certain respect with hip hop that's kind of been lost throughout the years where, hey, you're not going to be on this level and talk about somebody at that level. I think that respect has kind of gone out the door, generational. Don't put much value in that, but it means something to us, being part of that golden era and the start of hip hop and knowing where it came through and showing where it came to today. So one of those things I always talk about. I know there's a lot of talk about, well, this is the goat of hip hop, or this is the king of hip hop, or whatever. And I know hip hop's so widespread, and I'm going to talk about as many different topics as I can as these casts go on. But one of the things is when we talk about the king of hip hop, always go back and look at, okay, well, where did that originally start, or how did that come about? Well, like I said, with hip hop, it's always been about a competition, the rap battles, from all the way back from Grandmaster Flash to the Cold Crush brothers. Um, those battles, infamous battles in New York, through with those crews and things of that nature. But as far as like the to me, in my eyes, the original king of hip hop would be Curtis Blow. He was one of the first male solo artists in hip hop, signed one of the first record deals as a solo artist in hip hop, and had some of the first hits as a solo artist in hip hop. Um, so, I mean, Curtis Blow, obviously, if you go back and look at the history, or if you don't know the history, Curtis Blow, New York, Bronx, um, solo artist, affiliated, with Russell Simmons, and actually got his start, to me, one of the original fathers of hip hop, and actually Run DMC used to, in the beginning, used to, DJ for him, i.e., if you listen to the old records, you'll hear Run reference himself as DJ Run. Well, that came from when he was spinning with Curtis Blow. So Curtis Blow, to me, is the original king, the original start of hip hop. I mean, we know the Godfather and, Kool Herc and African Bambaataa and, all that. That's a different story. But as far as on wax, um, I would definitely say Curtis Blow being the first commercial solo artist. Um, and Curtis Blow was definitely live throughout the late 70s, early 80s. Massive hits. Matter of fact, just to give you a little history, if you don't know, one of your favorite songs by Next, "Too Close," which is a club banger. Definitely if you're a DJ, one of the things that you have in your crate if you need to get that floor jumping, Too Close actually samples a song that Curtis Blow did and would be playing, and you probably heard it on if you listen to the radio. Unfortunately, I don't really listen to the radio like that anymore. But a Christmas song, the Christmas rap, Christmas song by Curtis Blow is actually was sampled by Next on the Too Close beat. So the doom 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 doom. Listen to that song there. That is the original Christmas rap by Curtis Blow. Obviously, another big song that was taken from Curtis Blow that is, a hip hop favorite is "If I Rule the World." "If I Rule the World" was originally done by Curtis Blow, which was later on done by Nas uh, and Lauryn Hill. That song was the original Curtis Blow song, as well as also there's other songs of his that have been taken. If you can remember a while back, when Bow Wow was really Lil Bow Wow, he did a remake of Basketball, which the original song Basketball was done by Curtis Blow. Um, there's a lot of great Curtis Blow songs that I like. I mean, The Breaks, which is a old school hip hop favorite. Which if you've been to any cookout or anything around your family throughout the years, you had to hear, The Breaks. Um, as well as also one of my favorite songs. Like I said, I'm a hip hop head. So South Bronx by Curtis Blow. I can remember that song being played on a late night mix show that I just loved when the DJ mixed that in. South Bronx by Curtis Blow. AJ Scratch, which one of his DJs had, he had a song about his DJ, which was, a hip hop great for me. Um, so shout out to Curtis Blow, because the offspring of Curtis Blow, the son of Curtis Blow, was Run DMC, which is arguably one of the greatest rap groups ever. Um, another pioneer group, in the hip hop element. But sticking on solo male artists, you have Curtis Blow, and then after that, you got to give it up. And I know there was probably some few artists in between, but definitely the next major artist as a solo artist, male, was LL Cool J. And if you don't know who LL Cool J is, LL Cool J is one of the pioneers, first artist signed to Def Jam, which is the greatest hip hop record label ever. But LL Cool J, obviously, with "I Can't Live Without My Radio," "I Need a Beat," uh, go on to the other hits, "Bad," "I Need Love," uh, "Mama Said Knock You Out." There's so many hits from LL, but LL Cool J would be the next, as far as I feel, the originators of a solo artist in hip hop, and the true king and goat of hip hop. Uh, and he's still relevant. Like he doesn't do as much as the rapping anymore. You see him on TV, you might catch him in some movies. But the younger years, LL was like, okay, you had Curtis Blow at one level, and then here comes LL, 16 years old, and takes it to another level and builds upon what Curtis Blow did. Curtis Blow, a lot of his stuff was still kind of disco based, funk based, and LL came in with the shout out to Def Jam, Rick Rubin, Russell Simmons, giving that more edgier street vibe to it. So obviously, those classic hits, "I Need a Beat," "I Can't Live Without My Radio," "Rock the Bell," uh, classics that are going to play on forever. From that's just from his first album. And then you go into the second one, where you have "I'm Bad," "I Need Love," um, a lot of hits. One of my personal favorites, if you want to look up some stuff, "Dear Yvette." Uh, Back in the day, we would bump that, and that would definitely get the party started. So, and then you go on. LL, has "Walk with the Panther," that album. Uh, "Big Old Butt," that was a great hit. Probably been sampled, throughout the years. I just can't remember off the top of my head. But then after that, you got come in with other some "Backseat of My Jeep," "Booming System," pink cookies in a plastic bag getting crushed by buildings. If you watch Drake Champs, he explains that, even though we kind of already knew what that was about. And then the infamous, probably one of the greatest hip hop albums ever, Mama Said Knock You Out. So many hits on that. Around the Way Girl, Mama Said Knock You Out. Um, the list goes on. Jingling Baby. So and then he continues on. He still, has other hits with My Phenomenon, Head Sprung, different types of hits. So you can always look up LL, look at the catalog. It speaks for itself. Then after that, that's when it really starts getting competitive to me. Um, then you have, your Big Daddy Kane's come out with the Juice Crew, Big Daddy Kane's, his whole Juice Crew. I mean, God, Juice Crew had so many good solo artists. Research it. Big Daddy Kane, Cool G Rap, Biz Markie. Um, you could go with, and then you go into right during that time. This is right when the golden hair pop is popping. You got Slick Rick, who was with Dougie Fresh and the Get Fresh crew. He went solo. Slick Rick, Great Adventures of Slick Rick, Children's Story, Mona Lisa. Like that is phenomenal. Um, and then even still, you go a little deeper into that. You'll have other artists come in. Yeah, KRS-One, who was with BDP initially, and obviously Scott LaRock was murdered, and he was solo. I mean, he still kept BDP, but it was KRS-One as that major solo artist. Um, and then you also have wow, at that time you have so many different artists pop up. You have a Steady B from repping Philly. You have you know, Ice T repping the West Coast. Schoolie D. You have Too Short come out during in that time. You have so many people that just started coming out of the woodwork, but really prevalent to me was Big Daddy Kane. Big Daddy Kane was to me what probably Little Wayne, with Drake, with Jay Z, you know, Little Baby. What it is, what they are to you today is what Big Daddy Kane was to me back in the mid 80s. Big Daddy Kane could go across the board, out rap anybody, uh, like true rap, could flow on any beat. You talking about going from Smooth Operator, which is, smooth, laid back beat, going all the way up to Warm It Up Kane, which is probably one at that particular time was probably one of the fastest rap uh songs that was out. Um, just phenomenal. And then on top of that, could put on a show. And that was one of the big things. And that's why sometimes like I love hip hop, but I'm really not crazy to go to the shows. Even now, it's starting to become like that with some of the R&B shows. Um, because back then those artists performed. They gave you a full show. I mean, from beginning to end, it was nonstop dancing, action. They cut the music off and flow, remix it, whatever the case. But like it was a full out show. They entertained, and because they were keep competing with R&B. R&B during that time was still number one, but as solo artists and even as group artists, hip hop had they entertained, learning from the R&B. Took some of the R&B stuff and incorporated it into their show to make it entertaining. Um, but as you go on to Kane, then you have other artists. You have all the groups come out, and I think probably next relevant to me, as far as impact, obviously you had the groups NWA, PE, Tribe Called Quest. All those groups came out. But as far as like individual solo artists, after I think about Kane being my favorite, I will probably go next. And I'm not going to necessarily say he was my favorite, but as far as like impact, and I felt it, and I knew that hey, this guy changed the game. People hate it or love it, but I definitely got to give it to MC Hammer. MC Hammer as a solo artist changed the game. Nobody saw that coming. Like we loved his dancing. If the videos, I can remember being in the UK, and our biggest thing was learning a new dance, and so you can go to the school dance and perform your new dance. But and that's what Hammer was known for. But then and that was mainly off of his first album, Let's Get It Started, and all the hits that, came off of that. But when that second one dropped, uh Please Don't Hurt 'Em Hammer, I believe that's the title of it. Well, if You Can't Touch This, and all the hits that came after that. No, we didn't see that coming. I didn't. And when it came and it had the impact, you know, the 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 reason why it had so much of an impact, and why you people have to put some respect on MC Hammer, was because it was the full package. Hammer knew how to entertain, and could dance his ass off, still can, and he knew how to entertain. Was his rap on the level of a Big Daddy Kane, a Jay Z, Wayne, or anything? No, it wasn't. But during that time, it was about entertainment. Remember, they're still competing with R&B. R&B is still the headliners of the show. Um, and he just had a complete package that nobody had ever saw before. And with him presenting that full package, he blew up. He was able to cross all the lines and blew up commercially. And of course, people hate it because he wasn't a, New York rapper, or could flow like, how hip hop was at that time. He did his thing. He did it his way, and people loved it, and he blew up, i.e., then rap got commercialized. You had Vanilla Ice follow suit, one of the first Caucasian rappers that actually blew up to a worldwide level. There were other Caucasian rappers before that. Obviously, one of the greatest rap groups ever, Beastie Boys, and Third Base. Um, and there were others, but because of that commercialization of hip hop, um, it took it to a different level. Um, and as a solo artist, Hammer, definitely people have to put some respect on that brother, because he took it to a whole nother. He is part of the reason why hip hop is still alive today, and why people are getting paid what they're getting paid today. So definitely want to respect that man. Another thing, to forgive me, my light went out, but it's still all good. Give me a sec here, and it's got to make a little minor adjustments here. Give me 1 second. Technical difficulty. That's how you know it's live, when it's technical difficulty, right? It was my light. I didn't have it charged up. Sue me. Okay. Been a busy week. Working. But yeah, so going back to what I was talking about here, um, definitely putting respect on MC Hammer, and what he did for the culture. And then after that, once it got commercialized and it blew up, you have, you know, and forgive me, I'm not giving all of the names, or all of the artists that were out, but because for myself, I was really big in the groups at that point. Yes, it is unprofessional. Yes, it is. But guess what? It's my show, so I can do what the hell I want to do. Thank you. So, what we have, as far as like after that, um, we really have, like, the groups come out. It gets really kind of cluttered, and then out of nowhere, you have the breaking up of some groups. So one of the biggest impacts, as far as like solo artists, to me, once a group broke up, was Ice Cube. And obviously, probably by now most people know Ice Cube from the movies. Friday, Ride Along, uh, How Did We Get There? All those type of movies, Barbershop. But before then, Ice Cube was definitely one of the top solo rappers. Once he left NWA, obviously he impacted NWA like crazy, because he wrote a lot of the rhymes there on the first album, and then after the first album, he dipped. But his first solo album there, America's Most Wanted, um, definitely a classic hit. But Cube stayed true to Cube, and definitely to me is one of the major solo artists in the game there. And he's made hits, throughout the years. Today was a good day is to me one of the ultimate top 10 songs ever. But you have Ice Cube, you have excuse me, some of the other guys that are still prevalent. And then, kind of fast forward and I'm kind of speeding this up. Uh, then you have the introduction of Pac and Biggie. And Pac, you know, to me, there'll never be another Pac. They can say, "Oh, this person's like Pac." They're not. There's not another Pac. And one of the things that I hate in this world that I didn't get to see was Pac perform. Um, I did actually go to a concert. He didn't perform because they didn't have the money right. He walked right by me doing typical Pac stuff, but so I actually physically got to see him, but I never got to see him perform. And definitely Pac is one of the greatest ever. Records that will never die. California Love. The list can go on. I can see her name pop. One of the most impactful albums. Me Against the World is one of my personal favorites. And then you have Biggie, another person that you could try to replace. You'll never replace Biggie. You know, two albums, and probably the bulk of the stuff that comes out today will never match what Biggie put out in those two albums. Ready to Die and Life After Death are ultimate classics. So many hits off of those. One More Chance, Juicy, Big Papa, Hypnotize, More Money, More Problems. Like the list goes on. So when you talk about when rap truly was at an elevated point, those two brothers were definitely at the forefront of that. Now, fast forward, obviously, you have after they, were deceased. Then you have the impact of, your Jay Z, uh, Little Wayne start bubbling. Obviously, Juvenile was definitely that forefront person and definitely made his mark. But you had your Jay Z, Lil Wayne start, still young but still was making noise. Um, you have your Twisters, uh, get introduction to a little Kanye as life as it goes on, as the timeline goes on. Um, and just the impact that they made, which that's a whole show by themselves. But definitely have mad respect for Jay Z. I think he is one of the top rappers, just from his grind, knowing where he started and then where he obviously ends up now. But just seeing that whole uh, program just unfold and just become what he became. I mean, and it could have went a lot of different directions. And I even can't even before I even get to Jay, really to me, if you're going to pay respect and say, okay, who's one of the goats of all time, you got to go back to Snoop. Snoop Dogg, came in with Death Row, definitely made his debut, deep cover soundtrack, like I talked about on one of the other podcasts. Came in on that Chronic album and Uh, destroyed it. And then to follow it up with his solo album, which is probably one of the greatest solo albums ever, Doggy Style. Um, Snoop definitely changed the game. Obviously, he is still relevant to this day. Uh, Obviously, see him on TV, see him in movies. He still makes records. Snoop Dogg is definitely, you know, all flowers to him, for what he did. And both him and Jay, you know, careers could have went a different way, but they handled their business and took what they did to a whole nother level to make them still relevant and still make them, you know, recognizable today to where, your kids know about it. So definitely shout out to them. Little Wayne, you know, um, watching him grow as a kid and then, transform into the monster he became, and it just wrecked the game and did what he did. And then not only that, and I can go on about all of his hits and things, but not only that, changed the game with, okay, I'm going to bring on two more artists that are going to be just as good as me or better. And with Obviously he brought on Drake and Nicki Minaj, which obviously took their chance, took their opportunity and made like very, very big impacts. Um, and then you go on, obviously you have Kanye that comes in and hate him or love him. I mean, like I always say, I can separate the music and the personal life, um, because the music is the art. And if you go back to any artist, I don't care who you are, you can go back to any artist and they got some stuff with it, you know. And I think sometimes, Kanye obviously different time period now and a lot more stuff is publicized, but um, he is definitely a impactful artist. Definitely as a producer and as a rapper. I mean, if you go back and listen to his first few albums, I know people like the later stuff, but those first few albums are classics, and I won't take that away from him. Personally, some of the stuff he says is a little out of line, but I'm not. Who am I to judge? That's somebody else to judge that, right? And then you go on to as far as solo male artists. Once you get to Kanye, then obviously you go into some of the newer stuff. You got your futures. You got Drake's. Drake, you know, Drake. Hate him or love him. You have to recognize and appreciate his impact that he made to hip hop, and you know. Watching him grow, start his career and do something with it. That's the whole point, is that a lot of people have chances in this game, but how many people do something with their opportunity? And a lot of these people that I talk about, they've done that, i.e., why they're still relevant and why they still had, good careers. Um, so I'm a Uber Drake fan. No, but I will definitely admit that he has a lot of good songs that talk to his audience. And regardless out of anything, like I said, I respect that. If it's not music made for me, uh, I'm an old man sometimes, but I definitely respect the art, and I love the art. As well. We shout out here. I see we have a few people that joined in, and yeah, my sister had to tell me it was unprofessional because my light died. I don't charge the thing during the week, so it died, so I had to cut on my real light. So forgive me for that. It's Christmas time. Have a loving spirit. Big Sean, Big Sean. I actually like Big Sean. I think he's as far as like can rhyme and being, as far as like when I look at current rappers, I think he embodies the old school vibe of hip hop where, hey, I'm gonna actually rap and say something that means something. Um, and he does, like, it. You listen to his songs, it's like the the brother like definitely spits some lyrics. So I definitely have a lot of respect for him, and I think he's a great artist. Uh, So shout out to Big Sean. Another artist that I forgot about, solo artist that I talk about, is Scarface. I mean, obviously Scarface started off with the group uh, Ghetto Boys, but he went on to do his solo stuff. And as far as like Texas Southern hip hop, one of the pioneers for that. And I know he doesn't rap as much anymore, but I definitely have a lot of respect and a lot of love for Scarface. Let's see. I do got some viewers out there on my Instagram. Who else do y'all want to shout out or bring up here? Talk about everybody except for the new guys. New guys. I see what's going on. Now, I will say this. I've heard of Polo G. I don't know, and I probably heard some of it. I probably haven't paid any attention. So my nephew Micah, he's going to put me on to some Polo G. I know DJ Polo. I know I've heard of Polo G. I like I said, I don't listen to a lot of newer stuff, and my kids are old, so they put me on to some stuff, but I don't know all of the newer stuff. Uh, but that's all good. It's all about education. So my nephew's gonna have to teach me about Polo G. Awesome. And well, while he teaching me about Polo G, I am going to teach him about some uh some Curtis Blow. Definitely, definitely. See, we got Baxter girls back in the building. Shout out to them. Like I said, my sister's been in the building here. Janine, she likes messing with me and telling me about myself, but it's all good because that's my baby sister, so she can get away with it. Um, Mika T in the building. I saw her. Shout out to Mika T. That's my partner. Like she should be able to talk to this all day, um, because me and her are in the same age range. So definitely with that, and you know, no matter what, even like the newer artists, I am going to talk about newer artists because I can't disrespect and not say Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole because they still embody what I consider the true hip hop feel. They are going to rap. They're going to rap. They're going to do it their way, and that's what I love about it because that's what hip hop is about: is doing it your way. But they're going to do it their way, and they're going to put some spice on it. I think Kendrick Lamar, his first album, you can't I can't say enough about it. I love it. J. Cole is definitely a pioneer shot and from North Carolina, so we definitely got to show him love. So both of those brothers. I know some of the other people cast out Two Chains, the whole down south movement. You know, you gotta shout out as far as solo artists, Two Chains and Ti, Ludacris. Can't forget what Ludacris brought to the game. Um, yeah, I talked about KRS One earlier, being part of BDP and then being a solo artist. My Philosophy is one of my favorite records ever. Um, and then as well, like I was saying, still even giving shout out, and I'm leaving so many people off that I really really like. 50 Cent, you know, hate him or love him. 50, his first record, Get Rich or Die Trying, is an all time hip hop classic. Those songs will play forever in the club. Yeah, I don't think that will ever die, um, and it shouldn't. It's a hit. Um, and then as well, I was just looking at some of my playlists there. Buster Rhymes. Now, when you talk about hip hop and you talk about golden era things of that nature. Busta Rhymes did start out with the group Leaders of the New School, and then went solo, um, and Buster like blew up. I mean, he was the king of the remixes in the 2000s. Um, Solo artist, so many hits, classic hits that will never go anywhere. Busta Rhymes is definitely that dude. My sister says Lloyd Banks, and I actually like Lloyd Banks. I think he has some good hits. I think I think he is, you know, true New York rapper. He has that New York swag with him, and wish he, you know, he could have stayed, did more on the mainstream level. But Lloyd Banks, Jada, Jada Kiss is once again a New York legend, one of the best, probably the best verses that verses ever did was when Locks was versus Dipset, and Jada just went off. It was the Jada show. I mean, Locks is the awesome group, and all the three of them brothers can flow. But Jada stole the show and showed why he is one of the goats there. So shout out to Jada there. Um, there's a lot more people that started to come back to my memory banks here. I think about so many. I actually Method Man. I was thinking about Method Man earlier when I was thinking about doing this show, and I was like, I'm a Method Man fan. I'm a Wu Tang fan, but I'm really a Method Man fan. I mean, obviously, you're all I need is a ultimate classic. But Method can jump on anything and actually rap, you know, and especially, you know, can flow with anybody, and will you know stick to who he is, and that's what I really love about him. So shout out to Meth. Um, Also, if you shout out Meth, you got to shout out Redman. You know, Jersey's finest there. So Redman, I know my cousin he love he definitely is a big Red Man fan and actually put me on the Red Man. Like I said earlier, you know, Ludacris to me, one of the ATL rappers that actually Ludacris can rap, and you know, he's a big time actor now, and in that Fast and Furious franchise. But don't forget about his rap. That brother can flow. Shout out to you know what? Gotta get ready to wrap this up 'cause I know I'm over my time. But also shout out to you got to take it to Florida. You know, you can't forget about Trick Daddy Dollars. You know, Trick Daddy. You know, ATL, Young Jeezy. You know, I like Young Jeezy. I think he's a great solo artist. I can go on and on and on. Cameron up in New York. You know, in the New York era. Uh, Once again, if you like the trap music or whatever, and you have to pay respect, is Gucci Man. And the thing about Gucci, once again, that's another one that Ela put me on. But I really found out the impact of Gucci DJing in the well, we call it the hood, and you know, just seeing the energy that he brought and the way people were feeling him. So you know, I you know, there's some Gucci Man songs I like. Can I sit here and say I'm a Gucci Man fan? No, I'm not. It's not for me, but I definitely have to give him respect. Um, and even another brother that I give respect to, and I think is a great solo artist, and you gotta respect what he did, is Ja Rule. You know, I know he got caught up with him and 50's beef and all of that stuff, but Ja Rule had some hits and he made some good hits and he helped change the game. Remember during that time, and when I say Ja Rule, if I don't say this next brother, then I'm completely out of pocket. Um, but Ja Rule did some major things and changed the game, and he was right up there. And right up there at that particular time, if you really think about it, it was Ja Rule, Jay Z, and one of the goats, DMX. You cannot forget DMX and the impact that he made and the flow that he made. He was right up. All three of those brothers were right there together. Just the fact that you know Ja Rule got caught up with the 50 stuff, DMX got caught up with whatever he was into, and Jay Z rose to the crop. But it could have been any of those three because they were all on that same level at that one point in time. Sean was very impactful, especially after the death of Biggie. You know, Bad Boy was searching for that Biggie replacement, and Sean was probably the closest thing to it. Um, Two big hits back to back, Bad Boys, and then Bonnie and Clyde, which are still club hat, you know, hits. You know, got caught up with the puffy stuff. Like I said, I'm not a gossip show, but we all know what the facts were. And kind of cut his career kind of short. But yeah, shout out to Sean. I mean, definitely could flow. Um, Once again, Master P. Uh, I know Mika T loves some Master P there. And she could probably sing a couple of Master P songs. I love P. P was a big impact, you know, part of that down south movement when hip hop went away from New York. He was part of that. He was part of that resurrection of the resurrection of the South. So and you know, owning all his material, doing the distribution deal, all of that stuff. Master P is definitely a solo artist that we definitely have to give props to. And I'm not talking, and I haven't talked about the ladies because there's plenty of them, and I go into that. But just giving a shout out for the male solo artists. Also, Rick Ross. You know, seeing Rick Ross start out. Um, you know, getting on to when Jay Z took over Def Jam, and you know, you you know he made a big impact. He had Jeezy, Rick Ross, Rihanna, uh, Neo. You know, so Rick Ross was part of that movement, and to be there and to grow the way he did, and have some great songs, great songs. So shout out to Rick Ross. Common, one of my favorites. Common to me is still part of the offspring of Tribe Called Quest, Black Sheep, Native Tongue, uh, and um, obviously with him and Twiley and a lot of the other ones, Kanye when he had he was all right. Um, Common was a beast. He's been a beast. He's been out, you know, for years. And actually, one of the artists I did get to see him perform here in Charlotte. And he did his thing. Common is phenomenal, great actor as well. So shout out to Common uh, there. There's so many people. Like I said, I could talk all night about. hip hop, and I can talk about soul artists. Wyclef Jean, obviously Fuji's fame, but Wyclef as a solo artist, did made some impacts there. I mentioned Two Chains, definitely got to shout out Two Chains. Andre 3000, Big Boy, they're a group, and I always see them as a group, but individual artists they definitely hold their own. Um, David Banner was again part of that South movement. Shout out to him. Easy E, part of NWA, part of the pioneers of the West Coast. He wasn't a writer or anything like that, but his flow and the way he moved and the way he changed the game. You got it. Boys in the Hood. If you don't know about Easy E, listen to Boys in the Hood. Obviously, there's a movie about it, but pioneer. Eric Sermon of EPMD as a solo artist made great hits. Fat Joe, New York, repping. Fat Joe's still out. You see him all over the social media or whatever. But definitely a great artist. Big Pun. Um, DJ Quick. Mika T says DJ Quick was definitely impact. I saw something today. Like I said, I'm not getting into all the cliche stuff, but DJ Quick was saying he, should get the same kind of recognition as Dr. Dre. I don't know. I know he had a definitely big impact. Love his music, but on Dre level, I don't know. I haven't read into it to see what's all behind that. Mace, got a shout out to Money Mace there, Murder Mace. Uh, Definitely Harlem World. Mace was definitely impacting that void that filled once Biggie died. So shout out to Mace being a great solo artist. Um, well, I like Mike Jones. I was listening to Mike Jones earlier, and yeah, shout out to Mike Jones. Eminem. Once again, I don't never say there is a goat. I always say they're goats because everybody was the best at some point in time, and Eminem is definitely one of those goats. Respect his flow. Respect that. It was his flow. Yeah, people say, "Oh, he is a white guy," and he get no. That guy could flow and could spit against anybody. So records. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie. His numbers speak volumes. Twister, I was listening to some Twister as well. Shout out Twister, Chicago, uh, one of the fastest rappers that was out. Uh, like I said, I could talk about this all night long, and I know I am way over my limit on my show. But just overall, just the impact, like I said, of hip hop, and kind of like I said, I always want to talk about the history and where to start and where we're going. Um, and male solo artists is kind of where it started at. I mean, obviously the groups, and I'll talk about the groups on another show. But uh, to me, that's kind of where it started and where we are today. We still have male solo artists that do their things. Like I said before, you got J. Cole, you got Kendrick Lamar that are big names, and then obviously you have, like I said, the ATL is running hip hop right now. So you have the little babies, you got Future, you got NBA Young Boy, uh, Money Yo Bag, all those guys there. Like they do their thing and they're repping for their generation. So shout out to them. Also another rapper I want to shout out too, Cassidy. Yeah, Cassidy, Bootsy. Yeah, DJing in the hood. Like yeah, I heard a lot of Bootsy. I got put on the Bootsy, set it all. Um, Yeah, yeah, definitely Bootsy there. So, like I said, I can go on for days about it. But with that, like I said, wanted to get in the show real quick for everybody this holiday season. I definitely appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Could be anywhere else, but you're here with me. And then on top of that, you could be out Christmas shopping, and especially since my family's on, they could be out Christmas shopping for me. Uh, like gifts. But with that being said, I definitely appreciate everyone. And it's late night, early mornings. Uh, I have been doing my red light special series. Kind of want to change it up. I can do regular music and hip hop and all that stuff, but I was like, no, I want to do a different show. I want to do something grown and sexy. So doing a red light special. I think this is part 4 of the red light special that I am going to record and then post. If I record it, then post it, then Instagram can't block me, or they don't usually block me. So I kind of try to trick them so I don't get blocked. But nevertheless, I want to thank everybody for joining tonight. Remember, it is late night. It is early mornings. This is DJ BAX. Wanted to give a shout out to my fam. I got my sister Janine, Mika T. I saw my daughters on there. Faith Hope, Baxter Girls. You know what we do. Remember to check me out. Red Light Special will be posted. So if you want to sit back, get you a little wine, a little Riesling tonight. Pop you a little Riesling. It's okay. I said it's okay. Y'all have a good night. Continue to be safe. Peace, two fingers. I'll see you on the flip side. DJ BAX, I'm out.